On the day Grandma Maeve passed away, my divorced parents, who had both remarried, stood over her coffin arguing about who would be stuck with me in my past life. I felt sorry for my dad, Richard. I chose to stay with him, hoping to ease his loneliness. I even helped him pick the numbers for a lottery ticket that ended up winning a $10 million jackpot. But the moment he struck it rich, he bought mansions and luxury cars for my stepmother and stepsiblings. He refused to spend even a few $100s on painkillers for me. I was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor, and I died a slow, agonizing death in my cold bed, reborn into this life. My dad was frowning and sighing as usual. Hazel, your mother married a wealthy businessman. If you go with her, you'll live like a princess. My house is already too crowded. There's just no room for you here. My mother, Eleanor, was casually looking at her freshly manicured nails. Her voice was icy. Richard, that's not fair. Kids make a house lively. Besides, the rules in my new home are strict. My husband's ex-wife left behind twins, and they are not easy to get along with. If Hazel comes with me, she'll be eaten alive. Hearing them push me back and forth like unwanted trash, I felt absolutely nothing. And they finally turned to me, annoyed, and demanded to know who I wanted to live with. I silently picked up my battered duffel bag and walked over to my mother. Eleanor's face fell instantly. My dad let out a massive sigh of relief, a smug grin creeping up his face. But he had no idea, without me there to stop it. In this life, that multi-million-dollar lottery ticket would be left in his jeans pocket, thrown into the washing machine by his new wife, and shredded into useless mush. Having a second chance at life, I didn't care about the money. I just wanted to be comfortable. My dad shoved the rest of my things into my arms. I kept staring at his phone, checking the lottery drawing date, and waved me off dismissively. Don't call me unless it's an emergency. I've got a busy household to run. His mind was completely consumed by that lottery ticket. He couldn't wait to throw his useless daughter away. I didn't say a word. I just dragged my bag toward the Maybach parked at the curb. Eleanor looked at my pillowed, oversized sweater, her brow furrowing with disgust. The back window rolled down, and Arthur's daughter, Chloe, pinched her nose with exaggerated disgust. Eleanor, is this the charity case daughter you brought from the countryside? Why does she smell like sour trash? From the passenger seat, her brother, Ethan, turned his head and gave me a cold and different look. He didn't say anything, but the disdain in his eyes was loud and clear. My mother looked embarrassed, standing awkwardly outside the car door. I wanted to suggest buying me some new clothes, but she was too terrified of upsetting her new family. Arthur Sterling, my stepfather, saw her embarrassment. He closed the business document in his hands. Let's stop by the mall first, get the girls some decent clothes. I lowered my eyes and nodded quietly, following them into the high-end department store. The bright, sparkling lights hurt my eyes. I asked the personal shopper to bring out several pieces from the new seasonal collection. My mother pulled me behind a clothing rack, lowering her voice to a harsh whisper. Pick the cheapest ones. Don't look like a greedy beggar. Arthur is rich, but that money has nothing to do with you. Learn your place. Don't make things difficult for me. I watched her perfectly painted lips move, feeling completely detached. It had been a very long time since she had shown this much concern for me. Too bad this concern had nothing to do with love. I turned around and randomly pointed at a rack of clothes. Chloe strutted over, seeing me look at a simple white dress. She immediately snatched it away, giving me a smug glare. I want this one. You don't deserve to wear something this nice. Eleanor immediately put on a fake, flattering smile. Of course, Chloe, it looks much better on you anyway. Hazel can pick something else. Looking at my mother's eager-to-please face, I silently stepped back. I just pointed at a basic t-shirt on the clearance rack. Arthur walked over and looked at the cheap t-shirt. He frowned slightly, then turned to the sales associate. Take that white dress along with the other new arrivals and pack them in her size. Chloe stomped her foot in anger. Dad, why are you buying her such expensive clothes? Arthur gave her a stern look. Our family isn't so poor that we can't afford a few dresses. Don't make us look cheap. My mother quickly chimed in, yes, Arthur is always so thoughtful. She then turned and glared at me. Well, thank your stepfather, Arthur. I took the shopping bags. Thank you, Arthur. Half an hour later, we entered the Sterling family estate. The winding staircase and massive crystal chandeliers were breathtaking. The luxury penthouse my dad had bought in my previous life seemed like a tiny shack compared to this palace. But none of this mattered to me. I carried my bags and quietly retreated to the bedroom. My mother pointed out the room was huge. The bed was incredibly soft. I lay down and closed my eyes. A dull, throbbing pain was already starting to echo in my head. At dinner, my mother was desperately trying to teach me table manners. Hold your fork and knife like this, and don't make disgusting noises when you eat your soup. She was terrified I would embarrass her and ruin her status in this house. Chloe sat across from me, a mischievous glint in her eyes. She picked up a bowl of steaming hot soup and handed it to me. Here, have some soup. Just as I reached out to take it, she intentionally let go too early. The scalding hot soup spilled directly over the back of my hand. Before I could even gasp, my mother was already shrieking. How could you be so careless? Do you know how expensive that rug is? Go to the bathroom and clean yourself up. Now. She cared about the rug. She cared about her reputation. I didn't care at all about my red, blistering skin. I wiped my hand with a napkin, stood up and bowed slightly. I'm sorry. Arthur set down his utensils, his expression darkening. Chloe, apologize. Chloe rolled her eyes. It was an accident. She just didn't catch it. Arthur's voice went cold. I won't say it again. Apologize. Chloe muttered a half-hearted sorry. My mother quickly tried to play mediator. Oh, they're just kids playing around. Hazel has tough skin. She's fine. Arthur, please don't be mad at Chloe. Arthur ignored my mother entirely. He slid a tube of burn ointment across the table to me. Go put this on. I took the medicine. Thank you. Back in my room, I sat on the edge of the bed, gently applying the cream. My phone rang. It was my dad. The background was loud with the sounds of a rowdy bar and glasses clinking. He took a drag of a cigarette, his voice dripping with arrogance. Hazel, your old man is about to be filthy rich. My lottery numbers are a guaranteed win. But since you chose to go with your mother, don't think you can come back to beg for a single dime of my money. I have big plans for this cash. Just stay out of my way over there. I rubbed the ointment over the blisters on my hand, my voice completely flat. Okay, hope you get rich. I hung up. Suddenly, I heard soft footsteps outside. My mother was standing at the door. She pushed it open, looking at me with pure suspicion. Don't go calling your trashy father. Don't bring his peasant energy into this house. It took me years to secure my place here. Behave yourself and don't drag me down with you. I stared at her perfectly preserved face. Okay, I will. She seemed satisfied with my submissive attitude and shut the door. In the middle of the night, a migraine hit me like a sledgehammer. It felt like my skull was being split open. A cold sweat broke out all over my body. I pulled open my nightstand drawer. My bottle of painkillers was empty. Clutching the wall, I slowly made my way downstairs to find some medicine. The living room was pitch black. I walked toward the patio, only to find Arthur standing there, apparently suffering from insomnia too. He held a glass of red wine, staring out into the dark night. Hearing me, he turned around under the moonlight. He looked at my pale, lifeless eyes and spoke softly. Chloe's mother passed away when she was very young. That's why she acts like a porcupine. Don't take it to heart. He poured a glass of warm water, found a box of extra-strength painkillers from the first aid kit, and handed them to me. I took them and swallowed 2 pills. Thank you. He studied my ghostly pale face. For the first time since my rebirth, I felt a flicker of genuine human warmth. I gripped the warm glass of water. I understand. Over the next few days, life was relatively quiet. Under Arthur's warnings, Chloe stopped causing trouble for me openly, but she still hated my guts. Every time we passed each other in the hallway, she would deliberately bump my shoulder, or at dinner, she would push the dishes she knew I disliked right in front of me. Ethan always watched from the sidelines, never participating, but never stopping her either. I didn't care. One afternoon I came back from a hospital checkup. The oncologist told me that the tumor was spreading much faster than expected. I had 2 months left at most. I pushed open my bedroom door, only to find Chloe rifling through my duffel bag. Ethan was leaning against the doorframe, frowning as he watched her. What are you looking for? Get out of there before Dad catches you. Chloe was stubborn. Mind your business. I just want to see what kind of trash she's hiding in here. She dumped the bag upside down. Several empty prescription pill bottles tumbled out. Along with them was a worn, faded photograph of my Grandma Maeve. Seeing me walk in, Chloe froze, clutching one of the empty pill bottles. The mocking word she was about to say died in her throat. Why do you have so many of these heavy painkillers? She stammered. I walked over quietly, took the photo of my grandmother from her hands. I carefully wiped her fingerprints off the photo with my sleeve. Then I swept the empty pill bottles back into my drawer. Are you done? My voice was as faint as a whisper. If you're done, please zip my bag back up. Ethan stared at the pill bottles, then at the photo of my grandmother. His eyes grew complicated. He stood up straight, grabbed Chloe's arm and pulled her back. In a stiff but sincere voice, he said, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have touched your things. I stared at Grandma Maeve's smiling face in the photo. No need to apologize. Nothing lasts, anyway. Those words seemed to strike a chord in Ethan. He looked at my dad, hollow eyes, expression shifting into something unreadable. As he dragged Chloe out of the room fell silent again. A moment later, my phone vibrated frantically. My dad had sent over a dozen texts on Snapchat. That stupid bitch put my jeans in the washing machine. The lottery ticket is ruined. It's all gone, shredded into paper pulp. Did you know this would happen? Why didn't you warn me before you left? We're getting a divorce now. Pick up your phone. Get over here. Looking at the angry texts, I could perfectly picture his veins popping on his forehead. In my past life, I had practically burned my hands trying to fish that ticket out of the washing machine to save him. And what did I get? He abandoned me the moment he got the cash. I coldly typed back a few words. I didn't know. Then I blocked him, silenced my phone, and threw it onto the bed. My head throbbed violently again. I popped 2 of my new painkillers and swallowed them dry. That evening, I went for a walk along the tree-lined path outside the estate. The fresh air helped ease my headaches a bit. Just as I turned a corner, a shadow blocked my path. It was my dad. My dad stopped several feet away, his face twisted with fury. Hazel. I kept walking. He grabbed my wrist. You blocked me? I looked down at his hand until he reluctantly let go. You said I shouldn't call unless it was an emergency. This is an emergency. His voice echoed through the trees. You knew that ticket was in my jeans. You knew my wife was doing laundry. You could have warned me. I almost laughed. In my previous life, I had warned him about everything. I reminded him to check his pockets. I reminded him to buy medicine. I reminded him to pay his bills. I reminded him to take me to the hospital when my headaches became unbearable. And when the lottery ticket made him rich, I thought all those sacrifices had finally meant something. Instead, he had bought my stepmother a diamond necklace worth more than everything he'd ever spent on me. Now he stood in front of me screaming because a piece of paper was gone. I didn't know, I repeated. You're lying. He stepped closer. You always knew my numbers. You helped me pick them. My stomach tightened. He remembered. Of course he remembered. He had spent years telling everyone that his daughter was his lucky charm. Then the money came, and somehow his lucky charm became an inconvenience. I helped you pick some numbers, I said. That doesn't mean I knew the future. His expression changed. For a second, he looked almost frightened. Then greed swallowed it. Listen carefully. Eleanor's family is wealthy, but you're still my daughter. If you tell me what you know about the lottery, I'll give you 10%. I stared at him. You want me to predict another winning ticket? Yes. You trust me after calling me a liar? His jaw clenched. I'll make it worth your while. How much? He hesitated. 500,000. I smiled. It was the first genuine smile I'd given him since being reborn. Keep it. His face reddened. You ungrateful little. My head hurts. I interrupted him quietly. You should go home. He stared at me as if I'd slapped him. Then his phone rang. He answered it impatiently. What? His expression changed. The anger disappeared. What do you mean the bank froze the account? I slowly turned away. His problems had already begun. The lottery ticket hadn't been his only mistake. After winning, he had immediately transferred money into several accounts, bought property under rushed contracts, and borrowed heavily against expected future investments. Without the jackpot, he was drowning in debt. His new wife had already started blaming him, and his expensive new life was collapsing before it even began. My father ended the call and looked at me again. Hazel. I kept walking. Hazel, wait. I didn't. That night, I heard shouting from downstairs. My mother's voice came first. You brought him here? Arthur's voice followed. I didn't invite him. Security called me because he was causing a scene at the gate. I stopped outside the staircase. My father stood in the foyer, looking completely different from the man I'd seen earlier. His shirt was wrinkled. His hair was disheveled. His eyes were bloodshot. He looked broke, defeated. Eleanor, I need help. My mother stared at him in disbelief. You came here for money? I need a loan. You have some nerve. I lost everything. Arthur stepped forward. That isn't my problem. Richard's eyes landed on me. His expression hardened. This is because of her. Everyone turned toward me. My mother frowned. What are you talking about? She knew. He pointed at me. She knew the ticket would win. Chloe came down the stairs, followed by Ethan. What ticket? Chloe asked. Richard started shouting about the lottery. He told them I had helped him choose the numbers. He told them I'd known the ticket would win. He told them I'd deliberately left him to lose the money. Arthur listened without interrupting. When Richard finished, Arthur looked at me. Hazel. I shook my head. I didn't know. Richard laughed bitterly. She's lying. Arthur's expression became colder. Then why did you come here? Richard froze. You lost your money, Arthur continued. You came to your daughter's new home and accused her of sabotaging you. Is that what happened? Richard couldn't answer. Arthur turned toward security. Escort him out. Eleanor. My mother didn't move. Eleanor, I'm your ex-husband. She folded her arms. And his face collapsed. That single word hurt him more than anything I could have said. Security escorted him outside. I watched through the window as he stumbled toward his car. For years, I'd believed my father was powerful. Now I realized he had only been powerful because I kept cleaning up his disasters. Arthur glanced at me. You okay? I nodded. But my head was pounding again. Hard. I gripped the edge of the table. Ethan noticed. You're shaking. I'm fine. He didn't believe me. Neither did Arthur. Hazel, sit down. I just need some water. I walked toward the kitchen. Halfway there, my vision blurred. The floor tilted beneath my feet. Then everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the sofa. Arthur was kneeling beside me. My mother was crying. Chloe stood several feet away, pale and speechless. Ethan was holding my hospital papers. He looked at me, then at the diagnosis. His lips parted. You're dying? Nobody spoke. I slowly sat up. My tumor is back. My mother covered her mouth. How long? I looked at the clock. Maybe 2 months. Ethan's face went white. Chloe suddenly started crying. She remembered the empty pill bottles. She remembered the burn. She remembered calling me trash. And for the first time, she understood why I had never fought back. I wasn't afraid of her. I simply didn't have enough time left to waste hating her. Arthur sat beside me. Why didn't you tell us? I looked at him. Because I didn't want anyone treating me differently. His eyes reddened. You're a child. I know. You should have had someone taking care of you. I looked down at my hands. I did. He frowned. You. I smiled faintly. I learned how to take care of myself a long time ago. That night, Arthur made one decision. He called the best specialists he could find. He arranged consultations. He upgraded my room. He had medication delivered before I even asked. My mother stayed beside my bed until morning. And Chloe left a small white dress on my chair. The same one she'd stolen from me at the mall. There was a note attached. You can have it. I touched the fabric. Then smiled. For once, I wasn't interested in revenge. My father had already received the punishment he deserved. He had lost the money he valued more than me. My mother had to face the fact that she'd spent years protecting her new life while neglecting her own daughter. And Chloe had to live with the memory of the girl she'd mocked who was dying right in front of her. As for me, I finally had something I'd never had in my first life. People who knew I was sick. People who cared. And when morning came, Arthur walked into my room carrying a stack of documents. I've arranged something. I looked up. What? He placed the papers on my lap. Your name is going on a trust. I stared at him. I don't want your money. I know. He smiled. That's why I'm giving you something better. What? A choice. I looked at him. You can spend whatever time you have left doing exactly what you want. For the first time, tears filled my eyes. I didn't wipe them away. I simply whispered, then I want to live. And this time, I intended to make every single day count. 2 months later, the first snow of winter fell over the Sterling estate. I was sitting beside the window, wrapped in the oversized sweater I'd worn the day I arrived. My hair had become thinner. My face was paler, but I was smiling. I'd spent the last 2 months doing things I'd never allowed myself to do in my first life. I went shopping without checking the price tags. I ate ridiculous amounts of dessert. I watched terrible movies with Chloe until we both complained about how stupid they were. Ethan started driving me to the hospital appointments. And Arthur never once asked how much anything cost. My mother changed too. She stopped worrying about embarrassing herself. She stopped telling me to learn my place. One afternoon, she sat beside my bed and quietly admitted, I spent so much time trying to become someone else's perfect wife that I forgot how to be your mother. I didn't tell her everything was forgiven. It wasn't. But I took her hand. That was enough. Chloe became strangely protective of me. Whenever I coughed, she panicked. Whenever I missed dinner, she brought food upstairs. Once, she even threatened a doctor because he made me wait 20 minutes. Ethan laughed so hard that day, he nearly fell out of his chair. For a while, our house felt like a real family. Then one morning, my father called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. His voice was hoarse. Hazel. What? I sold the house. I said nothing. The bank took the cars. Your stepmother left. He laughed bitterly. She took the jewelry too. I looked out the window. I'm sorry. No, you're not. No. There was a long pause. Then he whispered. Did you know? I closed my eyes. Yes. He inhaled sharply. I knew you were different. I was. You knew I'd lose everything. I knew you wouldn't spend it on me. He didn't answer. Neither did I. Finally he said, I should have bought you those painkillers. My throat tightened. That was the first apology I'd ever heard from him. I know. I should have taken you to the hospital. I know. I should have. His voice broke. I didn't let him finish. Dad, I'm tired. He went quiet. Okay. We hung up. I never heard from him again. 3 weeks later, I was back in the hospital. Arthur sat beside my bed. My mother held my hand. Chloe was crying into Ethan's shoulder. I looked at all of them and realized something strange. I wasn't angry anymore. My first life had ended with me wondering why nobody loved me enough to save me. My second life was ending with people who had tried their best to make sure I never felt alone. That was enough. I looked at Arthur. Thank you. He squeezed my hand. You don't have to thank me. I smiled. I do. My eyes drifted toward the window. The snow was falling again, just like the day Grandma Maeve died. Except this time, I wasn't standing beside a coffin wondering where I belonged. I knew. I belonged here, with people who had learned to love me. I closed my eyes, and for the first time, I wasn't afraid of what came next. Grandma Maeve had once told me that life wasn't measured by how long you lived. It was measured by how much of it truly belonged to you. I finally understood. I had only been given a second life, but it had been enough. And when my heart stopped that evening, I left this world with a smile.